Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the MindShare Podcast. I'm David Greenspan, and this is episode number 374. So this episode was actually written a couple weeks ago in what I'll call emergency mode. You see, I was supposed to be joined by my first guest of the year on last week's episode, which I ended up being joined by. But Mother Nature at the moment, like earlier on in the day, had other plans. And you might be thinking, like, what do you mean, Mother Nature? Like, this is a podcast. Like, where's the connection here? Well, she decided it was time for a nice ice storm, which messed up the power and the internet. And in the end, like, although we did end up recording the live show together, it was a close one. Anyways, I wrote this episode, so I was ready to go in a different direction for this one. But I got to tell you, there was zero preparation to it. Then when I looked at it after the fact, I went, you know what? There's a good, strong message here. We're going to share this one today. So, hey, let's go. Now, consistency in anything is everything. Does that even make sense? And I'll include this podcast in that right now. So I just mentioned to you I was supposed to have a guest. And we had this whole thing planned out probably for a couple of months where the schedule was mapped out and the timing was mapped out and the guest was mapped out and the content was mapped out and we knew what we wanted to do for the conversation. Like, we had the whole thing mapped out. We were planned and ready to go. And like I said in the intro, Mother Nature, well, she had other plans. Now, what do you do at that moment? Right? And no joke. I mean, like, the snow was coming down like crazy. We had a crazy snowstorm that day. I think there was about, 17 centimeters that fell in the matter of like 3 hours. On top of the fact that here at the studio, we'd been having trouble with internet for a few days. Power was intermittent. Internet was in and out. And that messed up with the modem and all this stuff. And we went for service. Anyways, you got all this stuff going on. And here comes this storm that, like, amplifies the whole situation, but we got the plans. The question is, what do you do when you've got this last-minute interruption? This might be for a podcast. This could be for a meeting with somebody. This could be to close a deal. This could be to show a property. This could be anything. What do you do? Well, the only thing I could think of was here I am, prepping to record episode number 373 of the MindShare Podcast. And I know for certain, one thing I can tell you for sure, the only time we've ever missed an episode, and I can't even consider it like a missed episode, because it's a very planned thing. But it's in the final week of the year, and the first week of the year. We took a 2-week break of the show, kind of finish off one season, go away, go enjoy, spend time with family, not think about all sorts of this type of stuff, work and whatever else. I mean, obviously we're thinking about it, but we put it all away and then we come back in the new year and we start fresh in the second week of the year. Now, I know even in previous seasons I'd never done that. I just rolled through the year. I'd record two episodes. I'd have a holiday episode, a New Year episode. Like, I didn't skip a beat. But, as things progress and as we get a little bit more seasoned and as we find our groove and as we find our rhythm, which is something we talk about often, and that rhythm is anything that we do in life, but finding a rhythm that works for us, works for our time, works for our mindset, works for our patience, works for our productivity. Again, I thought to myself, the show must go on here. And so we decided, we might not have the guests, but you know what? We still have to have a show because there's no way in the world I'm not producing a show this week. And I guess that's exactly where I was going. And by the way, I did tell you a moment ago, there was like zero preparation. Okay? But I did decide, see, I say zero like it was like 0, 0. It wasn't really 0, 0, like totally a zero. I definitely prepared. I mean, I'm always prepared. Like, even if I tell you I'm not like that prepared, I think I'm really that prepared. But I mean, this one's not like as prepared. Okay, Dave, get on with it. Where are you going with this? Well, here's where I'm going. This show's been releasing once a week, every single week, for the past 370, 73 some odd weeks. Like I said to you, I skipped a couple here and there, like holiday season. But the point is, during the year, we don't miss a beat. Now, is anybody really going to know if, like, I didn't record a podcast, like, for a week? Yeah. People listen to it. Good point. All right. So it's not like we could just hide under the radar and not deliver. And you could be thinking to yourself, well, whatever, man. It's like one episode, like no big deal. And trust me, there's even people on my team that'll say that to me. Man, it's no big deal. Don't push yourself. Don't stress. And I'm thinking, no. That's not how we roll. See, yeah, the schedule was about to be impacted. But that's where you stop, drop, and roll, and sometimes you cannot. We talk about this often. I know I talk about it a lot with a lot of the coaching, the folks that I coach, as well as any of the training groups. You know, things happen. I get it. They happen. And you can't control them. And you have the best plans, the best intentions, and then shit goes sideways. So what do you do? Well, this is where, for me, I went into emergency mode. I knew I had the time to make sure I could, get this figured out. But I had to, the only reason I knew I had the time is because I started to look at the calendar. And there it is right there. Instead of stressing with a to-do list that had no times attached, I knew exactly what time everything needed to be done throughout my day. So the real first step here, when shit hits the fan, start playing some musical chairs. Making sure, though, that we still keep our commitments in check. Making sure that we're not going to be complacent about the fact that, things went sideways. What am I going to do? No excuses. Like zero. Not, this is why I couldn't do it, or this is what happened, or, but because of this. Like, I'm not blaming anything. And we didn't do that day. Okay? What I knew was it was a choice that I had to make. I can either sit back and say, well, this is frustrating, this pisses me off, Mother Nature, the internet, the power, the whatever, it's never going to work, we're not going to produce a show. Or it's figuring out what I can do again to come in with my own little contingency plan into emergency mode in that moment. And that choice was exactly the choice that I made, was to move forward. Now, one thing, again, if you're a regular listener, you know that every time I use I, it's not about talking about me. This is about helping you put yourself in shoes that maybe it's not about writing a podcast. Maybe it was an appointment. Maybe it was something else. But shit happens. And we're faced with, these types of choices every single day about what are you going to do? Because even the best laid plans never go perfectly to plan. And to everybody that I talk about time, all the time, how you cannot manage time, but you can empower time to manage you. Well, the idea now is if I take everything I got to do and I block it into the schedule, and I see what needs to be done throughout the day, and I see how much I have to do and how long I have to do it, or how little I have to do and how little time I give myself to do it, I could start to play those musical chairs where I need to while making sure that everything is still going to happen. Right? You see, again, when that moment happens that it didn't go to plan and you get that frustration, you get that feeling, you feel that you're bothered, that shit just went off the rails, you've got to ask yourself, am I going to be strategic about this? Or am I going to be emotional about it? See, emotional is going to keep us in our feelings, in our sorrows, in our frustrations, in our anger. And it's not going to let us think, and it's not going to make us productive. And it's usually going to cause us to make decisions that may not be the right decision. But we made it in the moment because of the way we felt. So what we have to do is flip that around. We have to get out of the feeling, and we've got to go strategic. Strategy isn't operating with emotion. Strategy is operating based on blunt fact, based on exactly what's going on, what do we know, and what options do we have. Let's make the best decision possible. That's it. Now in the moment, listen, it ain't easy to find yourself in that mode. It ain't easy to put yourself there and say, okay, hey, I got this right away. Yeah. I know I'm feeling like this, but I don't really feel like this, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be really strategic. Look, easier said than done. I know that. I recognize that. But through finding a rhythm, like I said earlier, and building out a habit to when shit hits the fan, you've got a real strategic way you deal with it, Now you start to walk into situations really differently. You start to come out of situations really differently. You start to look at things and say, you know what? Yeah, okay. I don't like the way this feels right now. Or this is frustrating. This just threw me way off. But I am going to be strategic about this, and I'm going to move forward. I'm going to make a choice to win. See, the question is, are you going to do what you need to do, or are you not going to do it because of the way you feel? Things like this come up every single day. They could be big. They could be small. Somebody could tell you they're going to meet you somewhere, and then they don't meet you, or they're going to call you, they don't call you, or they're going to move forward with a deal, and they don't move forward with it. I mean, God, we see it from people all the time. So many people out there have this horrible lack of commitment. People have a lack of maybe integrity to themselves about the way they run their days, and how when they make a commitment to somebody else, they still don't uphold that commitment fully the way they need to. I mean, look, and this is not even about other people. This could be, yes, Mother Nature. It could be technology. It could be your car. It could be anything. I mean, these things happen. We get thrown curveballs every day. It's up to us how we're going to deal with them. Now, in this case with the podcast, I found it really important that I kept pushing through. I know you're there, and I appreciate you. Even if I don't know you. You know me. You keep showing up. And for that, I am super grateful. And forgive me, I don't mean to get all corny and fluffy with you over here, but seriously, it means a lot to me, man. Yeah, okay. You're not going to catch me crying like that. But I do say that very sincerely. It does mean a lot to me. Now, the thing is, knowing that you're here, knowing that you keep coming back, knowing that this is a show that you turn to feed your brain, that's cool. And that's why I really care. That's why I put so much heart and effort into this thing. See, you keep showing up. And you know something? So do I. And you know that, and that's why you keep showing up. See, because over time, as you've shown up to this show and you've tuned in to listen to the show, the consistency of the show has started to resonate with you. The message of the show, the culture, you and I being connected in some way, either from a distance or maybe I do know you. Maybe we do know each other. Maybe we work together. Maybe you're a first-time listener, but you'll be back next week. See, the thing about it is this. Consistency builds trust. And the more consistent I am, which I continue to say consistency is a magic ingredient to achieving anything you want in life. The more consistent I continue to be with producing this show, the more people that continue to tune in to listen to the show, and the more feedback I get from people that the show is helping them with their business and their lives. And that to me is success. As you benefit from this show, you're winning, I'm winning, because that's what it's here for. That's exactly what it's here for. So again, the idea there the other day was, do I not do it? Well, if I don't do it, then I'm not consistent. But I know that consistency builds trust. I know that I've got people here that are relying on listening to the show. So you know what? I got to figure this out. And when you go deeper on that, think about the impact on your brand. See, here, you could be consistent, but at the wrong things. You could be consistent at being late. You could be consistent at not following up. You could be consistent at not delivering on what you said you would deliver. Or you could flip that around and be consistent on all good things and show people that you truly care and truly that you live to your word and that you do have integrity and standards and that you are a professional and that you are worth the money that you are wanting to get paid. See, when we think about consistency, it impacts everything that is out there in our world. From the way we communicate to the success that we have to the way that our brand is perceived by other people. Consistency matters. And when you're inconsistent about something, it doesn't show up in the best way. It actually shows you're kind of fly by night. It shows you're not really prepared. It shows that maybe you really don't care all that much. See, when you think about anything you want in life, consistency is that ingredient, as I just said. If you want to be more successful in business, you got to show up more consistently. Again, the phone calls, the follow-ups, the way you show up in person, the way your brand appears. When I see your brand from, this time to the next time, and that could be the marketing part of your brand, that could be the logo, or that could be you, the experience I get from you. Is there a consistent flow to what I can expect from you? Because if there is, then you build trust. When you build trust, now you build opportunity. When you get opportunity, after that, hey, that's where the money comes from. So this podcast doesn't get monetized to you. And yes, we've got our sponsors and stuff, but, really, this is about consistently trying to feed your brain. And that's coming from me. I want you to feed your brain. You have to turn the thing on. But I deliver consistently because I know that you're leveraging this to do that. And I want to make sure you can continue to leverage it and continue to lean on me and continue to rely on me. Not just me, but MindShare 101. I want you to come back for more. I want you to inquire with us and find out, hey, what can I do to go deeper? This stuff resonates with me. What else do you offer? How can I leverage you more? How can I benefit from leveraging you more? That's what we want to be for you. That's where we live. That's where we have fun. That's what we focus on day in and day out. Unlike so many of these fly-by-night coaching companies that they come in and they disappear, or they run just, these quick little videos on TikTok and run ads and stuff, but they're not really legit. And we're certainly not some, internal person at your office that, is just there that like actually does real estate for a living, but we'll moonlight as a coach for you for a minute. But I got more important things to deal with, so I can't really focus on you. No, we don't do that. Every single day, our focus is on how to make you a better version of you. Now, in fact, I got to ask you this as we sort of switch gears off the consistency thing here, and I'll never really switch gears off of it because I'm very consistent at telling you that you need to be consistent. But as you can tell here today, I'm also very consistent at being consistent. So now I want to ask you this question. Have you ever thought about what age you want to retire at? Like, I know we all kind of think about it. Yeah, I want to retire. Oh, I'd love to be retired. And I mean, I know some people are like, nah, what would I do like with my days if I was retired? So I get that too, right? But I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. And I said, have you ever thought about it? I was like, I don't know. That's a good question. Because I said to the guy, I'm like, how old are you now? It's like 41. I'm like, all right, where do you want to be in 24 years? He's like, whoa. I don't know, man. That's a crazy question. I'm like, no, dude, think about it. Where do you want to be? You'd be 65. Where do you want to be? Do you still want to be running around the way you are? Do you still want to be selling real estate? And this guy actually turned to me and he said to me, he goes, I probably will be. Yeah, I probably will be. But do you know how many people I've had this conversation with that are like, no, oh no, hell no, I don't want to be selling real estate when, in 10 years from now or 15 years from now. That's interesting coming from people that are making good money in the game. But have you ever actually asked yourself this? Like, if this is what you actually want to be doing in, 10 years from now or even 25 years from now? Think about that. And maybe that's got you thinking right now. You're like, of course this is what I'm going to be doing. Maybe you're thinking there's no way in the world this is what I'm going to be doing. I think there's a very good chance that the thought might actually be, wow, I don't know. All right. You see, if you answer, I don't know, first of all, it's a very fair, legit answer. Who the hell knows what we're doing tomorrow? And I mean, you could say, well, I know I'm going to be doing this tomorrow, but like, let's be real. We don't know what tomorrow holds, right? So legit, yeah, it's like, I don't know is not a horrible answer by any means. In saying that, what I want to prompt you for here for a moment is to think about it. Because thinking about it and getting a sense of what it will be actually helps us be more successful today. You see, if you're deciding to get out tomorrow, you need some sort of exit strategy. But before we do that, we've got to think to ourselves, like, where do I plan on being? What do I see, this life of mine looking like in, again, 10, 20, 30 years from now? As impossible as it may be to see it, one thing we can do is we can write it down. And writing stuff down will always bring things to life. They will always help you compartmentalize and see things on a clearer path. Help you lay out a plan for it. Help you put the pieces of the plan together, the steps of the plan. Help you understand if it's even possible. So the first thing you can do here, as you try to think about the answer to this question of like, where am I going to be in 10, 20, 30 years from now? Am I still going to be selling real estate? Am I still going to be in this game? Am I still be in sales? Still working for myself, running my own business, pulling out my own hair? You know, all the good stuff. Write something down. Think about where you want to be in 10, 20 years from now. Who do you want to be there with? When do you want to be there? So you think about where, you think about who, you think about when. Just start writing it down. What's the first things that came to mind when you wrote that down? Then once you write it down, look at it. Ask yourself, is this realistic? Does this even make sense? Am I way off my rocker over here? Or is this something that's actually going to, potentially come to life? See, once you figure this stuff out, you can begin to map your days even more intently. Yeah. Map your days more intently. How about that? You can start to figure out, though, what do I have to do today in order to get me to where I ultimately want to be? And when I say this to you, like, have you ever actually thought about a retirement plan for yourself? The exit strategy I just brought up. Because if you want to be somewhere by a certain point, let's say you want to get out of the business, you want to retire, you want to be somewhere else, you want to be there with somebody, you know when you want to be there. Okay, what are you doing now to set up your business for that? The beauty of it all is the things you need to do now to set up your business for the exit strategy are the same things you need to do now to set up your business for success today. Go figure, isn't it? See, the exit strategy, in order to do it, because we see way too many agents who just sit here, sort of, and when I say dying out, I don't mean from the physical sense of dying out, but just like energy levels are dying out and sort of drive and desire die out. We see people doing that. We also know that in real estate, there is no pension plan. There is no specific retirement plan. There's like none of these things are out there. So what do we do? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Exit strategy really lays into, specifically speaking, build up a contact list. Have everybody that knows you, likes you, and trusts you in one specific list. And this should be in your CRM. All too often I hear from people, oh, yeah, I've got their name. Do you have an email? Oh, I've got an email. Do you have a mailing address? No. Do you have a phone number? Oh, I know I should get that. Do you have a last name? Oh, not for all of them. So you basically have a first name with an email, yeah. So you don't really have a relationship with these people. You see, we talk about lead generation. We talk about going out there to find all these new people every single day so that we can do more business with. Yet nobody, rewind, cut that part. Most people don't track their data the way they should. They don't work the contact list the way they should. They don't do the follow-up when they should. In fact, most people don't even put the contact list in the system to know that they should follow up. Yet those same people are out there every single day spinning their wheels in the mud trying to find more people to do business with. Like, your business comes from your contact list. Stop filtering people. Stop judging, the book by its cover. You meet somebody new, they got a roof over their head, stick them in the list. Oh, but they didn't say that they wanted to work with me or they're not buying a house. Oh. But we did acknowledge they got a roof over their head. Right? Yeah. Good. Put them in the list. Start to build the relationship. Even if every single time you see them come up in your calendar, it means you go to Instagram or social media and you click like on one of their posts. You start to engage that way. Long game. Remember that. The more you talk to people, the more relationship you build, the more trust you build. Maybe they'll give you the phone number. Maybe they'll give you the email address. Maybe you're going to learn, that they have kids or what their favorite team is, their favorite color, their favorite pastime, or what they like to do and all that other stuff. You get what I'm saying? Stop chasing strangers. Mom always told us not to talk to strangers. Now, if you've got your database in check, you're doing all the things, sure, then we want to think about going out there every single day and finding somebody new. And in fact, I would tell you that if you found one new person every single day, that's 365 new people a year. In saying that, the contact list, if you're not working that properly, if you haven't got every single person in a database with complete contact information, that's where you start. Yeah, but I don't know, it feels weird. Yeah, but it feels weird. I don't understand what feels weird. It's going to feel weirder to talk to somebody you know than somebody you don't know. And seriously, I get it. Some people tell me that all the time. Fine. I'm with you. But no excuses. That's just an excuse. That's just an excuse. I don't know what else to tell you. It's a bullshit excuse. Did I say it's an excuse? You have to make those calls. You have to have those conversations. Those are the people. Those are the people that you're going to get more business from faster. It's the lowest hanging fruit. 70 to 90% of your business will come from those people. So if your contact list isn't in check, in one place, with complete contact information for every single person, with follow-up scheduled in your calendar, that's where you start. You want another deal right now? Go there. So you want to think exit strategy? Starts with your contact list. Next, it has to do with your time. And again, right back to square one where we started today, around the concept of time. The idea of no excuses, the idea of strategic versus emotional responses, the idea of consistency, the idea of making sure I build my brand the right way so you believe and trust in me. And you want people to do the same for you. So that's why time is always of the essence. Time, listen, it ain't waiting for nobody. Not you, not me. So stop thinking that you just got all sorts of time in the world, because the way you use your time really is going to determine how you live, what your life looks like, the success that you achieve. It all comes back to time. And I know time happens to be one of the biggest stressors that a lot of people have. Always running to the clock, always trying to stay on time, always getting pulled in a million directions, never being able to figure out which way's up, always feeling like you can't even keep up with the schedule even when you got the best laid plans out there. But the beauty of keeping our eye on the concept of time, it keeps us in check for our bigger plan. And even if the clock doesn't work out exactly the way we need to, the fact that we can play the musical chairs in a day, the fact that we can still figure out a way to get it done, that's the differentiator, because most people are complacent. So when you think about where am I going to be tomorrow? How much longer am I going to be doing this for? Do I still want to be slugging like this in 5, 10, 25 years from now? When you start thinking right now about your exit strategy, even if you know you got 25 years from now, a complete contact list is going to be a gold mine in this business today. And it's going to be what you actually have as an asset to be able to sell tomorrow. And that's what we talk about exit strategy, the ability to sell that list. And you could, again, give me all the excuses in the world, and I've heard them all. Oh, but my people won't want to deal with somebody else. Oh, but somebody else couldn't do the job I do. Listen, again, excuses. There is a strategy play here that I have seen happen many times, and in fact, I've been in the middle of for many different people, connecting one with another. Teaching them exactly how to make it come to life. Watching people benefit immensely where one person gets to retire, the other one gets to make a lot of money. In fact, they make a lot of money together while one is retired and the other one's growing a business. It is gold. But it's not going to come from the car or the clothes you wear, the business card or the website. It's going to come from the contact list. So again, back to consistency. No excuses. Work the list. Do it every single day. Put the people in the database. Put the notes in there about the conversations you've had. Schedule the next follow-up. Make sure they're on your marketing. Keep building the mindshare and keep moving. That's how you figure out consistency. That's how you create an exit strategy. That is how you see a light at the end of the tunnel where you still make a lot of money. All right, let's take a real quick break here to acknowledge our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems, built to keep you connected to your people consistently, especially when your head is full and momentum feels off. If you sell real estate, you need Kits. and REM Real Estate Magazine for real estate commentary and perspective in an industry that often defaults to noise. Again, if you're in the Canadian real estate industry, REM is your go-to source for news, industry news, and everything going on in real estate. Make sure you're connected with both of these industry-leading brands. All right, let's get back to our show over here. We talked about consistency. We talked about exit strategy. We talked about contact list. I gave you some action steps. Now I'm going to ask you another question. Are you wondering what to do about this soft market right now? We know the January numbers are down, or we're down. I guess we're almost at the end of February here. In fact, this show is going to be the last show of the month of February. So we know the January numbers were down. We know the February numbers are down. We know the average house price is down. We know that sales are down. Yet listings are up. How's that so? Well, I guess you still got a lot of people trying to take advantage of a market. You've got, by the way, a market that doesn't exist anymore. You've got a lot of people that are going, oh my God, I cannot afford to be in the home that I'm in that I bought 3 years ago for money that I didn't have. Oh, no shit, McFly. Damn, I've been saying this one for years now. In fact, I said this one when the market started popping off and people started buying houses, listing houses for way more money than they were worth. Then buyers went out there and bought the houses for way more money than they actually had. And nobody saw a problem coming. Like, yo, this is my bone to pick with AI as well. It's like we're sitting here injecting it into everything, not thinking about the fact that at some point it is going to make you obsolete. I don't care who you think you are. I don't care if you think that oh, no, they need me. I'm good. I'm really good. Yeah, listen, the more we follow like sheep, the more that we put technology in between us and the people that, know us, like us, and trust us, the less those people are going to think about using us and paying us the money that we make. They're going to go and use AI for a fraction of the cost. Do not kid yourself. Okay? Have yourself a real look in the mirror and be very real with yourself right now. Now, when it comes back to housing prices and it comes back to the market, it comes back to, what's going on out there right now, people have these thoughts to themselves that, everybody else is doing it, so I'm just going to do it. But people don't think, and that's why so many people are selling their houses at this moment. That's causing a problem. Patience, time, frustrations, you're getting down on yourself. Your mind and your rhythm were used to the speed and the pace at which it was working for a few years. That's all slowed right down. It's not feeling as good. It's not as exciting. It's actually very frustrating and overwhelming. But the show must go on, as we continue to say today. So now, I know back in September at my mastermind, I was talking to Benjamin Tal, who was a guest at our event. A few days later, talking to Sherry Cooper, RBC economist, and then a few days later, Jason Mercer, the Trev economist. So here I've got like some of the top economists in the country, and they all predicted somewhere between a 6 to 18 month turnaround for the market, which if you kind of take the median to that, it's 12 months, which at that time, this was fall of 2025. Does that mean that the spring market this year is going to pop off? Technically, according to them, no. Did some sort of say, it's possible? Yeah, anything is possible. Again, we can't see what's happening tomorrow. My prediction, though, spring market is going to be fairly quiet. It's not going to be, going gangbusters the way you want it to. There will be people coming out just because, again, that's what happens when, the blue skies start and the trees start budding and all that other stuff. People do come out. We know that cottage country is going to start to see the lift that they've been looking for because we've had this sort of long winter. But if we look at what everybody's predicting, we look at the numbers, we look at just everything happening right now in the economy, the interest rates announcements that are going to be made this year, I believe the fall is going to be the time that we're looking ahead to. The fall is the time that we're going to start to see that lift that everybody's been looking for. So what do we do with that information? Well, again, we take what we just listened to off the top of the show today around consistency and around emotional versus strategic decisions, around just, the show must go on and the musical chairs and the work in your pipeline. We take all of that and we continue to build the MindShare. We continue to build the pipeline because that right there is what is going to help you survive. It's going to help you survive the spring market. It's going to help you keep consistency going through it the summer so that you've got deals coming in. And it's going to prepare you for what's going on in the fall. And look, if it doesn't happen in the fall, it's bound to happen. Again, what goes up must come down. Well, what goes down must go up. So even if it doesn't happen in the fall, if you're doing all the right things, you are prepped and ready to take advantage. What you cannot do is what a lot of people did back in 21, 22, when they waited for the green light to go back outside, to get back together with people. They waited for everybody to say, okay, it's time now. Well, if we wait for everybody and to hear the big signal, the green light, everybody starts the race at the exact same time. But you got an opportunity right now to continue the race, to never stop racing, to keep pushing, to stay ahead of the game, to win the race. But it means you got to put in the effort. You've got to work the database. You've got to make the phone calls. You've got to do the follow-ups. You've got to stick to your schedule because all of that right there, I only listed 3 or 4 things right there. And those right there, those are the non-negotiables in each of our days. When you were in your own business, when you were in sales, making calls, tracking your database, keeping that thing organized, scheduling follow-ups, showing up on time. That's the goal. That's what delivers the business. Not the AI, not the website, not the social media video, none of it. Not the branding or the logo, the car that you drive. None of it. It's the contact list, the phone calls, the follow-up, and the schedule. That's what's going to drive your success. Keep working it. It doesn't matter what's going on out there right now. Do not let this market bring you down. Do not let it hold you back from being the best version of you. No matter how frustrating it is, no matter how much you get down on yourself, stay consistent. The show must go on. Now, I don't know what it is that draws me to groups like the Navy SEALs, like Special Ops, these espionage movies. Like, I always find it wild that there's people, that are so brave and so strong that they physically train for some of the scariest shit in the world to go fight terrorists or run missions that the public never even hears about, stuff to save the world. And I know we see it in movies and TV shows, but come on, this shit's real. It happens. Anyways, I mean, Mission Impossible, I know it's a movie, but I think Ethan Hunt's so cool, the stuff that he does. Anyways, why am I bringing this up, Dave? As not only I watch and I just enjoy sort of the topic of it, the idea of it, I just think it's cool. It's not something I would do. But I think these people that are that brave and that strong, I think there's something cool about it. Anyways, what am I bringing this up for? Navy SEALs, doing a bunch of learning and just reading and understanding. They've got a mindset that helps them succeed in the toughest conditions and environments in the world. I mean, they train these guys they stick them in like little boxes where their knees are up to their chin. I remember reading the David Goggins book, Can't Hurt Me, and he was telling a story because he was a SEAL, right? Telling a story about how they would stick him in a box like a coffin and stick him in there for hours, where his toes would touch the end, his head was touching the other end, his hands were as the box was as wide as his torso, he couldn't move. Then they take him out of that box and they put him into another box, but one where he had to sit down and he would crouch and his knees would be touching his chin and his head would be touching the lid of the box, and he couldn't even really move his elbows, and he was just can you imagine being stuck in a box like that? And if you're thinking, why would they do that? Well, it's just all part of their training. They're just training them to be tougher. They're just training them in case you get kidnapped by terrorists and they torture you, here's how to survive. These people are mentally strong. Forget about just physically, mentally. So again, where's the tie back here? Well, it is real super easy to worry in a market like this. It's easy to run your mind wild with thoughts, with doubts, with what ifs. Well, it's the what ifs that usually drive us crazy. What if I lose? What if I don't this? What if I don't know that? What if I don't have the answer? What if I screw up? What if it doesn't go the way I want to? What if, what if, what if? Well, all we're doing is throwing a question into our brain to allow our imagination to run wild. And our imagination, I mean, like, what if dragons came out of the sky and blew fire flames at your head and burned all your hair off? And like, what if? Yeah, you could finish that sentence in a billion different scenarios. What if? And it runs our minds crazy. It casts doubt, lack of focus, lack of confidence, lack of action. So instead of the what if, and this is the way the Navy SEALs do it, and this is why I bring this up, this is what they learned. Instead of asking themselves, what if? So they're about to go into battle, they're about to do some crazy mission that again, none of us ever hear about, and they go, what if? Well, oh my God, think about the what ifs that they could finish that sentence with. Then think about the doubt that might cast, the fear it might invoke. So they changed the words, the question. They changed the question. I'm suggesting this to you. Instead of what if, they change it to what do I know for certain? So again, it's not what if this happens. It's what do I know for certain? I know I'm good. I know I'm prepared. I know I'm ready. I know I'm rehearsed. I know I've done this and I've done this and this. And like you go down this list, I know I did this. Well, on one hand, the what if creates fear and doubt. On the other hand, the know for certain creates excitement. It creates confidence. It's strength. So as you get into those situations around like, what if this doesn't sell? What if they ask me a question I don't know? What if? Change it immediately. Again, this is where we're training the brain. Same way I said to you earlier about strategic versus emotional responses. Same idea here now. We're training the brain to go into a different action step. Instead of fear and doubt of what if, we're going to get into strength and confidence with what do I know for certain. Then we're going to walk through those doors and we're going to go and perform. And we're going to kick ass. We're going to win. Stop stressing. Start taking action. Stress doesn't help anything. Worrying about the bad market, worrying about all the time, worrying about all the stuff, wondering what's going to happen, just complaining about things, none of it pushes you forward. The show must go on. And that's what today's been all about. So here's what I want you to do this week, okay? I want you to go in and audit your contact list. No excuses. Oh, man, I've got a really busy week this week. Okay, well, there's the first excuse. I'm not saying stop, drop, and roll and don't do anything else this week. I'm saying carve time into your schedule to start working on your contact list. And no, I do not think you're going to finish the whole thing this week. But start from the first person, the letter A. Start going through their profile. Do I have complete information, first names and last names, mailing addresses, email addresses, phone numbers? Again, do I know their favorite sports team? Or, do they have kids, a wife, a husband, a significant other? What do I know about them? The more intel you have, the more opportunity you create. Take every single one of them, add them to your 10-year plan for ongoing follow-up. Again, this is your bulletproof follow-up system. Every single person, not only with a complete record, but they should all be on your marketing. And they should all have a next follow-up date scheduled in your calendar. None of them should just be sitting there dormant. None of them. Plan your week ahead. Ensure that sales calls, and when we say sales calls, that includes follow-up and prospecting, make that the top of the list for you. I know the kids need to get to school, or I know you got to get to the grocery store. I know you got that appointment later on tonight. I know. You're going to do it. I get it. Make sure the most important thing you do outside of maybe taking care of the family is getting those sales calls done. That's where the business comes from. If you're busy, you're going to get busier. If you're quiet, well, you will get busier, not quieter. Okay? The phone calls are what creates the opportunity. Take 10 shots with a 10% scoring rate, you get 1 goal. Take 100 shots with a 10% scoring rate, you get 10 goals. Track those right back to your deals. Forget about goals, and you are making more money. So plan your week. Make sure sales calls are at the top of the list. And that's whether you feel like doing it or not. It doesn't matter if you feel like doing it. Again, that's an emotional response. Strategically, you're going to do it. And I'll close that part out by saying lean in and do what most people won't do. When you work that list and you plan those sales calls, now you're consistent. Now you're creating opportunity. Now you're being strategic versus emotional. And now you are winning. And again, most people, they don't do it. See, most people just talk about what they want. They talk about the problems they're having. But most people rarely put in the work. They rarely take action the way they need to have what they want to. So don't be most people. I'm David Greenspan, reminding you to build MindShare because it equals market share. Thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you next week.